Hey everyone, today we're going to take a look at this German sentence. Mit etwas Glück könnte Deutschland nächstes Jahr die Europameisterschaft gewinnen. And the English translation of that is, with a little luck, Germany could win the European Championship next year. Needless to say, we're talking about soccer because Germans are always talking about soccer. Let's take a look at the different aspects of the sentence: vocabulary, grammar, sentence structure, declensions. Let's start with the vocabulary. So, a lot of the words are very straightforward. Etwas is an interesting word because etwas can either mean something or it can be a quantifier. Okay, it can either be a thing or it can tell you how much of a thing. It says a little bit of something. And then, of course, we have können. Here are the three forms that you need to know, the past tenses, an important modal verb. And what else do we have? Here, this adjective. This adjective cannot be used alone. It can only be used right in front of a noun or as a noun itself, but that's a different topic. So when you use an adjective right in front of a noun, it adjusts to the gender of the noun. And you can see that in the ending. So nächstes Jahr, okay, this word, it goes together with Jahr. And Jahr is a neuter word. Das Jahr here. So nächstes, S is the neuter ending, adjusts to the Jahr. And let's take a look at the conjugations. So we have two verbs in this sentence, könnte and gewinnen. It could win. So verbs in general describe the action in a sentence. To be able to do something, could here, can or to be able to. That's not necessarily like an action, but it's still considered a verb. It's like a state. And because we have these two verbs, we only need to conjugate the first one. Now, this is the conjugation for können that you know. Indikativ, meaning the standard form in present, in the present tense. But in this case, we need conjunctive, actually conjunctive 2, but it's usually conjunctive 2 when we use conjunctive. And this mode expresses possibilities, among other things. It can also express wishes or hypothetical situations or conditional statements. So this is an irregular verb in conjunctive, and you need to remember the conjunctive forms by heart, but it's one of very few. The modal verbs are all irregular. So können, wollen, sollen, müssen. And then the second verb is simply the infinitive. Okay, if we use a modal verb together with another verb, we just use the infinitive of the second verb. So let's take a look at the declensions. Which words in this sentence are things or at least declinable words? We have etwas Glück. So etwas and Glück, the quantifier together, well, it's technically a pronoun. The pronoun together with its noun, these things both have to be declensed, and they follow the preposition mit. Now, mit is a preposition that always uses dative. Let me show you a little graphic here. We have some prepositions that always use dative, some always use accusative, and some, well, are more complicated. But mit is an easy one. So etwas Glück is dative, but the endings don't change here. Okay, so when we have articles, we need to make sure that the article is the right one. Noun declensions and pronoun declensions are advanced, and we don't have to declense anything here. This is fine. Then Deutschland is the next thing in the sentence that can be declensed. Deutschland is the subject of the sentence because it is the doer of the action. Of course, it's a potential action in this case, okay? Like it could win, but if it were to win, then Germany would be the one who wins. So the one who performs the action, that's always expressed by the standard case. Again, I mean, nominative is the standard case. And again, we don't have to change anything. Nächstes Jahr. Okay, nächstes Jahr is weird, admittedly. Nächstes Jahr is accusative because when we talk about time periods with the adjectives nächstes or letztes, let me get you some examples, then we always use accusative. Like, for example, also letzten Monat, letzte Woche, nächstes Jahr, nächsten Monat. So especially with the masculine verbs, you can see, so especially with the masculine nouns, you can see how the adjective gets a specific ending here. Okay, it doesn't happen with the neuter noun das Jahr. So this is accusative because we're talking about a period of time or a point in time with the adjective nächstes. But because this is neuter, we don't have to change anything. So let's save ourselves the effort here. And move on to the last item of the sentence, die Europameisterschaft. Die Europameisterschaft is the thing that's going to be won, hopefully. So again, accusative. This is the object, okay? The object is the part of a sentence, the item that something happens to, okay? So this European Championship is being won. And again, nothing changes in accusative and with feminine. So we do have 3 different cases, and we do have a lot of items in this sentence that need to be decleansed. But fortunately, the only ones who have like an article here or an adjective, that's where you always have to watch out for declensions. Those ones are just feminine, accusative doesn't change. Let's take a look at the table here, actually. So we have this incredibly big table of German adjective declensions, and it also includes the articles. Okay, so we have die Meisterschaft. Okay, so die Meisterschaft is feminine, and then so we can compare this here to the template, die lange Straße, the long street. This is the standard case, nominative, nominative. And now, if it's direct object, it's the thing that's being won. It's accusative, but it's still die lange Straße. It's still die Europameisterschaft. Nothing changes. Then we have nächstes Jahr. Okay, so das Jahr is neuter. Here we have das. Where do we have this? Okay, without an article, we only have an adjective and a noun. Langes Warten, long waiting. I mean, like a long time of waiting. In this case, nächstes Jahr. You can see the es ending in the standard nominative case, and in accusative, it's the same. Okay, nothing happens. Still the es ending there. All right, and then of course Deutschland being nominative doesn't change because it's the standard case. And etwas Glück, well, as I said, we usually only need to watch out with adjectives and articles for declensions, and the rest is a bit advanced. Fortunately, we're not encountering it here, or unfortunately, I don't know. Okay, so let's move on to sentence structure. Okay, what do we have here? So mit etwas Glück is giving us a background. This is an adverbial. Okay, it tells us about like the outer circumstances of this whole happening. And it's not so uncommon to put an adverbial in the first position. And then we have könnte. Könnte is the verb. Great. In a statement, unlike a command or a question, in a normal statement, in a normal sentence, the verb is always on the second position. And then we have another verb, and when we have 2 verbs, one of them always goes to the end, the second one. Okay, so that much is clear. Now, why do we have Deutschland here? Okay, so let's copy the sentence. To explain this, I'm going to adjust something. Let's pretend that the sentence actually starts with Deutschland, okay? Because the standard sentence structure is subject, verb, object. Okay, so this would be the complete standard structure. Deutschland being the subject. Now, we can have adverbials in here. Okay, adverbial. We can have a second verb. Let's just call this, yeah, verb two. And then we can have other things. And when we move something, we want to change as little as possible. Okay, so we want to move the adverbial mit etwas Glück. We want to move that to the start. Okay, because like that's the condition. You know, we need a little. Germany needs a little bit of luck to win the soccer championship. And then something is wrong here because the verb still needs to be on position two, right? This needs to be the second thing in a sentence. Okay, and then the like rule of thumb is you just don't change anything else, and that's how you end up. Okay, we just have one adverbial here. That's how you end up with the sentence structure that we have. Okay, let's see. Nächstes Jahr, another adverbial. Okay, in this case, of time. Let's go back to the original sentence here. Okay, and then we have an object. Great. So let me underline the adverbial, and here the object, we can at least like highlight that in red because this is like accusative, so we can see that's an accusative object. Yeah, great. And again, you know, like adverbials usually come before any objects, unless we're dealing with pronouns. Great. So that's the end of the sentence analysis. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you still have any questions, then message me below, and you can also always suggest a new sentence for next time.